Hi, welcome back to our channel. Today we are reacting to Jimin. We really loved taking Jungkook by himself and trying to break down like what he does and how he does that. And a lot of you requested that we also do that to Jimin. So we put out a post, and so many of you were great in helping us find the right video.
Yes.
Ultimately, I think he's also just very much a dancer as well as a singer, and so a lot of the solo stuff he does is more in the dancing category. And so we really appreciate all of your feedback and your help finding it. So we found a compilation. We're going to react to some of it, and yeah, we're just really excited.
Super excited. If you guys are new to our channel and you haven't seen one of our videos before, we are voice teachers, singers ourselves, and we like to break down these performances from a technical aspect and talk about singing. So we hope that you enjoy this video. We're going to talk about technique and things that we think we're seeing as voice teachers, and we're going to pause a lot, and it's going to be great. So if you guys are excited, please leave a like and let's get started. Whoa, they're so young. Hey, was that the note before too? So it's like the same.
No, it was the last note was higher.
Was it really that high?
I think so.
It is pretty impressive how high he sings. That's lower.
No, you're right.
Yeah. Anyway, I wanted to talk about just kind of that register and that part of the male voice as a male. Explain a little bit what you think is happening there, and maybe how you would try to accomplish that yourself.
Okay. I have recently. I used to sing in falsetto all the time.
Right.
Big mix type deal. Once I started singing opera and then after that doing more contemporary stuff, I've sung so much less in falsetto.
Yeah.
And so I will be upfront right now that my falsetto is rough these days.
Right.
And it's I would love to get it back to a point, but if I were to try to do this and what I'm going to try to do in order to get my falsetto kind of clarity back is something we talk about the channel all the time. That it's a bite, and it's a
because I think what I would say is like maybe my common misconception or a common misconception about falsetto is it kind of usually would be assumed it's weak. Do you know what I mean? I feel like falsetto is like truly airy and headless.
So if I didn't have those vowels, and if I wasn't going for that super forward, I would go, which is, it's still kind of got a little bit, it's a little bit, it's still a little,
exactly.
Right?
That's what I would say. Yeah.
But once I go, I can bring it a lot more forward. I can, have that more masky, give it more air, more of a little bit more of a mix. That gives it that clarity and that bite.
Yes.
And he is really good at.
That fits in pop too. It fits in this style because you don't want to hear some like operatic whisper tone in the background. Yeah. You want to hear that like that impressive kind of piercy pinging note.
That's what cuts through the mix.
Absolutely, cuts through the mix. And I think it also just is impressive and sounds good. And it's why so many people love Jimin in BTS particularly, I think, because they love his high notes and like what he's capable of
Well, and
doing.
I think that's what he brings to the table,
so,
right?
too.
It's what he's bringing to the band.
Yeah.
Not that other guys can't sing up there
Right.
like that, but he's, this is his job. Everyone's kind of
sure.
got their role.
Yes.
And as well as being an amazing
true.
dancer, I
Yeah.
think he kind of covers those really wildly high parts.
Notes, yeah.
And so he is now, I don't know if he was before, but like, he is for sure now an expert
Yes.
at singing in that range of his voice, and the more you do that, like what I was saying earlier, the more I haven't done that, the harder it is for me, or the more out of practice I am. So,
yeah.
the more you do that, the better you're going to get at it.
Well, do you think that that's something that you have or don't have? Or do you think that anybody could do that? And then maybe just like the quality
all
would sound
voices are different. All
Right.
voices are different, but, I think that for the most part, if you can fly up into your falsetto really good,
Yeah.
and it's all kind of the same production,
Right.
You give it air. Give
it
it air,
air.
focus on your vowel. That's why
So-
we say air and vowel on the channel all the
all the time. I guess the question is too, and maybe this is a question for myself. I feel like with whistle tone for women,
Yeah.
I kind of feel like you have it or don't have it, and maybe that's false. Maybe
I
that's
think
not
you
true.
and I, though, have different philosophies on that.
Maybe it's more just like a muscle, even
Because
though
there are
that's
other
wrong.
people who think that,
Yeah.
you are born with it or you're not.
Well, and when I say like maybe it's something that you can just like practice no matter what, and whether or not it sounds as good as some of the people who really like kind of shine up there, that might be up to debate. But
If I didn't believe in practice,
yeah,
I would give up.
Right.
Because I've never been the person who just had it.
right.
And so I feel like
Yeah.
I've really tried to work on that. So, but I think that whistle tone's a different thing than falsetto.
falsetto. No,
is just the
absolutely.
very edges of your folds, and you're whistling with your vocal folds with
Right.
whistle tone.
Right.
And so that's, but this is great.
is
I
great.
really like, if you're at home and you want to try this stuff, really get it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Nasal.
And it's going to sound not so great, maybe to you,
Yeah.
or maybe by yourself, but do it in a band setting or
Absolutely.
somewhere where you can really get after it, and it kind of cuts through other things that are going on. It's going to be magic.
It is.
It's going to be a good time.
going to be similar to this.
Yeah.
I mean, this is, if we isolated his vocals, you'd be surprised, I think,
Yeah.
to hear sometimes. Let's keep going. Is it really an A5? Are you sure? I guess it is an
I
A5.
can't even do.
Wow.
Woo.
That's like my money note. That's like where I kind of live.
Yeah.
At least in a
it.
classical setting. I mean, I'm not doing, that's more classical.
But do sure.
I don't know what he was
Yeah.
singing, but you could do. I think
You
it's
want me
going
to
to
see if
sound
it's an
different
A5?
though for women. No, it is.
Okay, cool.
It is for sure. Yeah. Because it's not painfully high. It's like just right where
It's
you
just
want
right
it to
where
be.
where you want it to be.
Where you want it
I
to
like
be.
G's. A's. I mean, starting getting into A and B. I mean, A4, B4, or G4.
Go play it. Now I'm curious.
Yeah.
Just, is it an A? It's an A?
Yeah.
Okay, then it's definitely an A5.
Cool.
Wow.
There's a reason why we don't always like have a piano next to us and talk about
note.
this is this exact note, because it's like, does it matter? Does it really matter? It's high. Sure, great, wonderful.
I think comparing it sometimes, like, yes, it's impressive when a male is singing an A5. That's impressive because it's just not what happens often.
Sure.
But does it change the technique or what we can address by that? Not really, no.
Not really. Yeah, it's all, at least to us and to our vocal philosophy, it's all the same. How you do it is always the same.
It's the same
vowel,
function,
and it's air.
right, yeah.
It's vowel, and it's air.
No, it's air and then it's vowel.
Oh, wait, it's
Just
air,
kidding.
then it's vowel. Perfect. I think that's that A again.
Wow.
So this is actually, I think, a really good version. You know, whether or not because some people have told us that he kind of can rely on the backing tracks a bit. So whether or not he's doing this like right here
Live
and now
or
and
not,
live,
yeah.
I don't really care, because I just heard a really nice transition from his low register up into his falsetto, and it was super duper smooth. So I want you to hear when he kind of changes, if you can even notice. I think I know when it happens.
Yeah.
But he does it in such a really smooth way that I think a lot of people would love to do.
love to have,
be
yeah,
able
absolutely.
to do that. Na na na. Oh, na 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 na. Let me try to get that line.
Is it really an octave? It's not an octave, yeah.
Na, 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 na.
Yeah.
It's really good.
That's a hard
Na,
line.
na, 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 na. And
There
that's
you
where I
go,
think
yeah.
it happens.
Yeah.
Na. Right there. Na na. Let me do a good one. Na 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 na.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Totally. And I think that because of how he already lives in his falsetto and head voice, you don't notice it as more than just like it's getting higher.
Yeah.
You don't notice like a huge timbre shift or like a tone shift or anything like that. So that's pretty cool.
So we've said this in other videos, but if you want to try to be able to do that, start flipping back and forth all the time.
Especially where you're struggling.
Right?
Yeah.
You can hear where my voice breaks, but don't worry about that. What I want you to be able to do is try to just get there and come out of there. Get there and come out of there. Because the more you do that, the easier it's going to get. And so when you can do la 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 la, right? You can just flip.
Totally.
You can work on making that sound, making your falsetto sound stronger and all that kind of stuff. But just getting there is going to help you a lot.
Right.
Okay.
Ooh, you can hear his timbre.
He's staying down, flipping up.
Yeah.
That's kind of that full voice. He just flips right up. Even, I can't even do it very well.
Well, and I was going to say even like I feel like the thing that he has well as his vowel is very forward and closed, and you can hear it in almost everything he sings. Yeah. It's just very efficient.
Yeah, it's really forward and super efficient, and that's how it kind of just stands out and really has a point to it. It's really nice. We're going to say it 1,000 times, and this is why we can't do the whole video, but it's all vowels. It's all vowels. And his ability to flip up into the falsetto, into the head voice, whatever you want to call it, at a moment. He's really loose.
Right.
Here. He's got to be.
Well, and I think that's just where he hangs out. It's where he lives. It's kind of his jam.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
I think that I'm still intrigued at the quality of his voice. I haven't heard it that great in these recordings, but when we watched the BTS Tiny Desk, I mean, obviously that recording is really easy to hear, everyone. But I would say that if you listen to him specifically on that recording, the quality of his voice is so different than
All the others.
really other people I've heard in general. Like I hadn't mentioned that I thought he might have auto-tune on, or he thought he had a vocal effect on. But I think he just has a very interesting quality of voice, and I think that has to do with his vowels. I think that has to do with singing in Korean, which is also vowels, and I think it also just has to do with the timbre of his voice. The timbre of his voice is very brassy and kind of
he's really like this. He's really closing forward and and nasal in a good way. I just like this section here.
Wow.
Ooh, he's really, and it's lots of air, really high and floaty. And just, it's, you can't do that when you're super duper tight.
Absolutely.
You can't flip up super easily when you're super duper tight. And all he's doing is just giving it more air and getting way up there.
And I would say overall, watching him, we haven't seen him a ton, but watching him, I don't notice a lot of tension with him.
No.
So I think where he lives, it's also his comfortable spot. Like I don't think he has to, I don't want to say try that hard, because yes, it is hard to do these things, but I think
you have to give it the air. And I think he does that really well.
And I think what he is doing is a healthy thing anyway, because he's singing in a head voice falsetto with right vowels and good air support. That's kind of the perfect combo.
Yep.
It's an impressive sound to us, and it's also something he could do over and over again, night after night, and it sounds almost identical every time.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that it's because he's not singing it live every time. I genuinely think he can do that a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's what, at least in our philosophy, that's what all singers should kind of go for.
Strive for,
is being loose, being consistent, getting a healthy sound, getting the sound you want in a healthy way,
Absolutely.
all that kind of stuff. And I think he's really nailing it.
Absolutely.
And I think that's kind of a little bit, like you said, the nature of where he sings.
Yes, totally.
He just kind of knows. And you were saying that it sounds like he's loose, and it's my opinion that he couldn't flip up or do the things that he does if he was super duper tight.
That's true.
So
that's very true.
I think he's doing a great job.
I would say that Jimin's voice is one of the most unique voices I've ever heard. And honestly, it's also because K-pop is a little bit different than what we listen to traditionally anyway. And so singing in Korean makes it more unique. But I would say his voice, specifically his timbre and his tone, is one of the most unique things I've ever heard. And I think that this little video and these clips have only proven that he is kind of a master of what he does, and he kind of sticks to the same thing all the time. Yeah.
Well, and that's a good thing, I think.
Absolutely.
You become an expert in that. Well, we hope this video helped you kind of learn a little bit more about how Jimin does what he does.
Absolutely.
I am, for one, a huge fan.
Absolutely.
Definitely makes me want to go practice and work on my falsetto a lot more. It's there's so much there that you can do, especially as a male vocalist. It's kind of a gift. So I hope this makes you want to practice that as well. If you like this video, please give it a like, and if you're new here, please consider subscribing. We make new videos like this every week. We're Chase and Melia. We'll see you soon.